Welcome to Mamahood After Trauma, where healing and mamahood intersect. I'm Emily, your host. Join us as we discover practical strategies to nurture ourselves with kindness and understanding. Stay tuned for insights and inspiration to support you on your path of healing and growth. Let's dive in together. This is Mamahood After Trauma. Hey, welcome to this episode of the Mamahood After Trauma podcast. This is a different kind of an episode because this is a replay from the very first Mamahood After Trauma Symposium. In this episode, you are going to hear from Cassandra Love Lambert, the visionary behind Sea Love. She is a trauma-trained somatic transformational coach and artist. She is fully certified in clinical EFT, brain spotting, and somatic attachment therapy. Cassandra is a beacon of hope and transformation for women seeking healing and empowerment. Having faced her own battles with PTSD from sexual abuse and the challenges of an emotionally unavailable parent, Cassandra's journey to self-love and wholeness has deeply informed her practice. Her personal experiences have led her to the life-changing power of somatic-based work, particularly emotional freedom techniques, or EFT. With unwavering dedication, Cassandra offers a unique 10-week pain into power process using EFT as a cornerstone to help women transform their pain into personal strength and resilience. Her mission is to guide clients to feel safe in their bodies and fully experience all of their emotions and unlock their authentic selves, enabling them to show up in their lives and thrive. Cassandra's passion is for helping women thrive, shines through in every aspect of her work. She understands the struggle to survive and is committed to lighting a path to flourishing. Her book, Into the Light, Becoming My Own Hero, is coming out this September in just a few weeks. And so her talk that you're going to listen to is about paving the way for our kids' freedom. And so I cannot wait for you to listen to this. And if you enjoy and you would like to attend the next Mamahood After Trauma Symposium, I will put a link in the show notes of this episode so that you can register for that event, and make sure that you connect with Cassandra as well. Without further ado, here's our girl. We interrupt this amazing conversation for a word from our sponsor. Are you tired of feeling like you're on an emotional roller coaster in mamahood? Ready to break free from the fear and frustration that's holding you back? Introducing Mama Untriggered, private podcast series, a transformative 5-episode journey to help you calm your nervous system and reclaim your strength in mamahood. In each episode, we'll guide you through practical, actionable steps to understand your triggers, build your trigger toolbox, and harness the power of community for support. Say goodbye to those moments of overwhelm, and hello to more peaceful, empowered you. You didn't become a mama to spend your day on edge. It's time to take control of your emotional well-being and create a positive, joyful experience for you and your littles. Ready to break free from the emotional roller coaster? Subscribe now to the Mama Untriggered private podcast series and start your journey to a calmer, happier mamahood today.
Hey Mama, this is Cassandra Love Lambert, also known as C Love, and I'm really grateful to be here with all of you in Trauma Mama because I am a mom. And when I was pregnant with my daughter 11 years ago, I went through a really interesting experience where any healing I had done before I had her didn't even matter. It was almost as if I was starting my healing journey all over again. They call it a trauma capsule. It like opened wide up and like it was so hard and overwhelming to navigate because there was just so many triggers, so many activations, so much confusion. And so it's really an honor to be able to be here today to offer you guys some wisdom and some tools to really help you through your day. Um, in my childhood, I went through a lot of sexual abuse and neglect. My mom is narcissistic in tendency and behaviors, very manipulative, and also very avoidant as far as attachment styles go. She was very critical of me, picking me apart all the time, didn't give hugs or kisses. I'm just kind of trying to give you guys a little bit of backstory. And my journey to healing was really hard. In my 20s, I was in a lot of abusive relationships, just repeating, what I witnessed my mom go through and just not knowing any better. And so my daughter was really a blessing in a lot of ways because she got me on the right track. However, at first it was just totally overwhelming. And some of the things that really helped me the most was being guided towards learning certain tools that really helped me ground and center myself and really get familiar with my own essence. Connect to a higher power was also another key because up until I had my daughter, I was really angry. If there was a higher power, I was really angry because if there was one, why would it allow kids to go through those kind of experiences when they're so innocent and pure and, they don't deserve that. I didn't deserve that. So one of the first things I actually was brought to is my knees, kind of dark night of the soul. And I was like, well, I've tried so many other ways of healing. I've tried energy work, I've tried Reiki, I've tried sitting with shamans, with medicine and this and that. And nothing got to the roots, obviously, because it was like all right there after having my daughter. So I was like, I'm gonna go down this path I haven't tried before. And it was connecting to a higher power, connecting to creator. I started going to Bible study. I was guided towards this school called the Foundation of Spiritual Development, which also helped me understand like I needed to protect myself from like the world or like other energies that weren't aligned and to really connect with creator even more deeply. And that's what led me to somatic work. One of the first modalities I was guided to was EFT tapping. EFT stands for Emotional Freedom Techniques. And I couldn't believe it, honestly, when I bumped into it. I felt really silly at first, right? Because you're tapping on your meridians while saying stuff. However, the more that I did it, the more I noticed shifts happening in my life, the more I wasn't as triggered or activated all the time like I had been previously. And I also started to experience my reality shifting, where it's hard to explain too, because like when your reality starts to shift on the healing journey, it feels a little weird because you'll be like, oh, that's weird. Like usually when something like that would happen, I would feel this way and I would react this way. And like that's happening. However, I don't feel those same impulses or responses in me. And like feel more neutral to it. And then like you just notice like maybe work is easier or you're attracting more aligned clients or even managing or dealing with your kids' temper tantrums. Like you're not as flustered or overwhelmed with them, right? I remember um, when my daughter started having her tantrums, oh my God, it was so hard. There were times she threw fits, like I felt like I was kidnapping my own child from the park because, like, screaming and kicking, it was just so loud and big. Like, I remember at one point too, I was really scared of her because she was just a big energy, big soul, big feisty soul. And I knew that I didn't want to beat that out of her or crush it like how my mom did with me. So I knew that I had to find different ways to be able to hold safe container and navigate just being able to be with her when she's working something through her system. And so like EFT tapping is super huge. And I want to walk you through what that is. Let's just go over the points first. One of the first points, you take your two fingers, top of your head, and you can do it with me, right? We could do it together right now. The next point is the front of your eyebrow hairs. If you ever see videos where people are tapping here, that's not the spot. The spot is the front of the eyebrow hairs. The next point is side of your eye. The next one is under your eye. And you can do one side or the other, right? Find your flow with this. Under your nose, your chin. And now there's like your collarbone and there's like this little soft spot underneath. So you want to make sure you're tapping on the soft spot. I personally like taking my hand and just going like this. This is really soothing for me. And then under your arm, kind of like 5 inches from your armpit. Some people like to do this. Some people like to do this. I kind of like to do this little chicken leg thing. And so I want you to just keep doing this with me for a minute because I want you to just notice how this is making you feel. Because even if you don't remember the next part I'm going to teach you, if you just sat there every day and just did this, maybe set your timer for 5 minutes and just focus on breathing while you're doing this, you're going to remind your body that you're allowed to feel relaxation. And you're also going to help cut off the signal to your amygdala, which is causing cortisol to pump into your system. So just biologically, you're helping your body to calm down, to feel less activated or triggered. Now, if you want to get more specific, because maybe you're really activated, right? Maybe you have super high anxiety or fear, or just super triggered by something like someone said or did, you're going to add in the karate chop point, which is for setup statements. And a setup statement looks like even though I'm feeling, you put whatever it is in the middle. So let's just go with anxiety. I'm feeling this anxiety you also want to say where you're feeling it. So I'll just say like I'm feeling it in my chest. It feels really tight. You could always describe what it feels like. Then you always have the reframe at the end. I accept myself and honor how I'm feeling. We could do this together right now. Even though I'm feeling this anxiety and tightness in my chest, I accept myself and honor how I'm feeling. You always do the setup statement 3 times. Even though I'm feeling this anxiety in my chest, it's really tight and hard to breathe. I accept myself and honor how I'm feeling. And then you go into your tapping points, this anxiety I'm feeling. I'm just honoring this anxiety that I'm feeling. This anxiety in my chest. This anxiety in my chest. I'm just honoring that it's here. this anxiety in my chest, just giving it a voice. And then you take a breath and then you'll tune in. So you'll always want to measure, like, okay, I'm feeling this anxiety on a scale of 0 to 10. How much am I feeling it? And you give it a number. And then after you do a full round, like what we just did, you'll measure it again. And now you want to make sure it gets to a 2 or lower before you like go about your day. Um, and what you might notice is after you do a round, the number might be higher because you're actually tuning in and getting more connected with your body. And it might be a lot bigger than you had thought because maybe you were disassociated or kind of numb or checked out or in your head, right? So you just keep doing it and honoring it and do another round until you get to a 2 or lower. What you also might notice is it might move, right? It might have started in my chest, but maybe after I do a round, it's in my tummy. So I want to make sure I include that into my setup statement. Even though I'm now feeling this tightness in my tummy, I accept myself and honor how I'm feeling. And so you do a whole another round on that. Another thing you might notice is that you feel silly doing the tapping, and that's kind of getting in the way. So you actually have to honor that in the setup statement too. And that's actually why I love tapping so much, is because it's actually honoring your entire system, however you feel. Like there's no bullshitting your system. You just honor every single thing you're thinking or feeling, and that validation allows your body to be like, "Whoo, I feel heard, I feel seen, I feel acknowledged," and it just like releases whatever is going on in there, right? So, EFT is a great tool to do daily, and it's important to do it daily because when we're in a moment of distress or activation, our logical thinking part of our brain goes offline. And so you're going to be like, in your amygdala, your fight or flight responses, your trauma responses. And so you won't have access to a tool like this unless you've been using it daily and it's become part of your daily routine because and like second nature, and then you'll have more access to it in the times that matter. Also, when you practice, something like EFT in moments of less distress, right? It just becomes more of a habit. And that as well contributes to you having more access to it in a moment of like high activation or triggering, right? So, daily practice is super important. You want to make sure you're honoring all sides of your being. And this really just sets you up to have a more grounded day where you're able to be more flexible and resilient in moments of curveballs or moments of, getting triggered or activated. You'll be able to like bounce back more quickly if you have done a daily practice. And I know with kids that can be like challenging. So maybe getting up, 20 minutes earlier than you normally would, just so you can have that time to fill your own cup first. And the things I would include in a daily practice are meditation is number one, and everyone is different, right? So you want to find the meditation that works for you. Some people can just, set their timer and just close their eyes and, just focus on their breathing or hearing themselves breathe, right? Some people that doesn't work because they have like, ruminating thoughts and stuff, or they are easily distracted. So they need to listen to someone walking them through a meditation. And some people are more kinesthetic, so they need to do some kind of movement to tap into that no thinking zone. So they need to do some kind of repetitive movement like biking or walking or swimming or dancing. So you would want to figure out the meditation that's good for you. And then make sure you do, 5 minutes of that in your morning. The next thing to include in a daily practice is, EFT tapping, because it kicks on your vagus nerve, which introduces relaxation to your body. And then it also cuts off that signal to your amygdala. So it stops any cortisol from being pumped into your system, right? So you're already starting to be like, ooh, reminding your body, I'm allowed to be relaxed. And the next thing to include in your daily practice is some kind of movement. It doesn't have to be super extreme or anything, but we are a physical being. So making sure you take care of your body. And that can include, going for a walk. It could include yoga or stretching. You find what works for you. And the final piece is to do something that is good for your spirit. So some people that is, reading the Bible. Some people that's, listening to something inspirational or reading something inspirational or doing art or whatever it might be. So you find what works for you. And then you go about your day. You filled your cup. So now your cup is full. So you're giving from overflow to, the kids and family versus from like, ooh, depletion, right? The next part that's really important when it comes to, just setting yourself up for a good day, especially if you have a lot of trauma in your past, is boundaries, right? So just really listening to your nervous system and honoring it and noticing where you need to have some boundaries, right? Like, oh, I've been tolerating this thing, but it's actually really, I don't have capacity for it. Like, I need to put a boundary here. And when it comes to boundaries, too, I want to just really tell you that you're allowed to have any boundary that you need to feel safe. And if anyone guilts you or makes you feel wrong for that, there might not be a match in that, because you're allowed to have safety. And if you tolerate things that are too far out of your capacity, you're just going to be constantly on hypervigilance and fight or flight, which isn't super healthy. And that'll ripple into like how you care for your kids, and make it really challenging, right? So you want to make sure you're putting boundaries wherever you need to feel safe and communicating them. When I think of boundaries, I actually pulled some of the rights that you have as a human, just to kind of remind you. You have the right to say no without feeling guilty. You have the right to be treated with respect. You have the right to make your needs just as important as everyone else's. Even if you are the mom and caretaker, your needs are just as important, right? In fact, it's kind of like putting that oxygen mask on, right? Like you have to put yours on before the kids on a plane. Same thing with like filling your cup. Your needs are just as important, right? And you have the right to be accepting of your own mistakes and failures, right? You're allowed to make mistakes and you're allowed to keep learning and growing. You don't have to be perfect. And then you have the right not to meet others' unreasonable expectations of you. And so sometimes what will clue you in that you need a boundary is that you'll feel angry or irritated. And so you could just explore, like, is there something here that I could say no to? Is this like me like saying yes to this person, but it's a no to me? Do I need to put a boundary here? Do I need to recommunicate a commitment I just gave? So you want to explore this area of boundaries. And what's great about boundaries too is they're very fluid. So maybe this year you need boundaries around this thing, but maybe next year you've done some work, you've been practicing your self-regulation and self-soothing tools. Maybe you don't need the boundary in that area like you did before, right? So just always checking in with your system. Your body will always tell you what you need and don't need. You just need to slow down to listen, right? And the final piece I wanted to share today was just about, navigating those moments of activation or triggers, right? You want to make sure you're filling your toolbox with somatic tools to really help you in those moments of like, oh my God, overwhelm, right? Because when you're in those moments of overwhelm and reaction, like I said, your thinking brain goes offline, which is totally normal. And, biologically, that's just what happens. So take the shame out of it, right? Um, and so you want to have these tools that you're just practicing just on the regular when you're not as activated. Because again, in moments of distress, that part goes offline. So unless you're practicing them already daily and they're kind of like second nature, you won't actually have ability to grab onto it when you really need it, right? So some of the tools to practice that are really supportive for moments of distress or being triggered, one of them is what I like to call sevens breathing, which is also can be referred to as box breathing. And what that looks like is you're going to breathe in through your nose for the count of seven. So I always like kind of do that part in my head. the counting to 7, right? But then you're gonna hold at the top of the breath for the count of 7. So in for 7, hold for 7, then you're gonna blow out through your mouth for 7. Then you're going to hold at the bottom for 7. Then you're gonna breathe back in for the count of 7. And you're gonna do that 7 times. So for the rounds, I tend to use my fingers, right? Because otherwise it's hard to keep track of it all in my head. And what you'll notice is when you do that, it helps just bring down that activation for you, right? So you can be a little bit more grounded. And when you do bring down the activation, boop, your logical thinking brain comes back online. So then you can make more aligned choices for yourself, which are from response versus reaction, right? Another thing that is supportive is Ho'oponopono. And a book I really love that really talks about all the ways you can use Ho'oponopono is called The Easiest Way by Maybell Katz. And what it looks like is, let's just say someone's kind of being aggravated with you or giving you like an attitude or whatever it might be. Maybe it's even your kids. And all you do in your head is just say, I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. And you'll just say it over and over again in your head, right? You don't have to actually say it to the person. You could just be saying it in your head. And what you'll notice is it shifts the energy in the room, right? I don't know if you've ever heard of that study with water where like some of the water was getting told bad, negative thoughts and things and messages, and then the other water was being told loving statements and loving words and this and that. And the crystals in the water were beautiful with the loving messages, and like the water that was having all the negativity was like not great crystals. So it's the same thing. Something about just like, okay, this is going on. And you say, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. Even if maybe you didn't actually do anything, Ho'opono is about, like, taking accountability for, like, maybe I was thinking a thought that just kinda went out there, rippled out, and impacted you, or maybe you felt my grumpy energy somehow, or maybe I was thinking a grumpy thought and you felt that, right? And now you're grumpy. So it's just kinda taking this, like, really interesting accountability, for how we are always impacting each other, right? And just loving it, loving everyone and just sending love out to kind of shift the energy. Another really great tool, especially if you're angry, and this is one you could teach your kids too, actually. It's called tap and rant. And so this is like full permission to like throw a tantrum, but you can go in a room, turn on some music that helps you really tune into your anger. And then I want you to tap on your points while also stomping your feet. And I want you to verbally say anything you want to say about whatever's going on, whatever's upsetting you, right? Like, I can't believe they did this. Oh my God, this is driving me so nuts. Blah, 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 blah. Full permission to cuss, say whatever, because you're not actually going to go say it to that person, but it's just a way to express yourself while tapping. And it helps release it from your body. Okay. And kids, this is really great for kids, right? To give them a healthy way to express themselves and their anger, which also helps, reintroduce relaxation to their system. Another thing that's a really great tool too is like, let's just say you have to have an uncomfortable conversation with someone, or you wanting to tell someone something and it's just uncomfortable for you. You can literally just be tapping on your points, and this is called tap and talk, and have the conversation, because while you're tapping, it's going to help you not get as activated as you would had you not been tapping. And you can always share this tool with your kids too, or your spouse, and your friends. It's just a really great way to like have those uncomfortable conversations. So I hope that you guys really use these tools. I know that's a lot. I'm going to share the PDF with Emily. But yeah, these are like the keys that really helped me when I felt so overwhelmed after having my daughter. And I want to give these to you so you could start using them and practicing them and implementing them into your day-to-day life. Because healing isn't just a destination, it's a journey. And it's not about hitting a target. It's just about creating a healthy lifestyle, a healing lifestyle that supports you day to day so you can be your best self and so you can show up. And I look forward to answering any questions you guys have. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to tune in to this episode of the Mamahood After Trauma podcast. If you would like more of the Mamahood After Trauma community, make sure to look in the description of this episode for the link to become a Mamahood After Trauma Inner Circle member. Until next time, Mama, keep